Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Melanie Campbell, and I'm the president and CEO of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and convener of the Black Women's Roundtable. It is my honor and a pleasure to thank you all for joining us for this Black Women Leaders virtual call to action in support of our sister Kristen Clarke, who has been nominated to serve as the Assistant Attorney General for the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. I want to thank my partner in this and leader and mentor, Dr. Janetta B. Cole, who is the president and chair of the board of the National Council of Negro Women, for partnering with us tonight. All of our partners that you will hear from who are hosts this evening for this very, very important discussion and lifting up, as I said, a call to action in support of our sister who comes up for a vote this week in committee in the U.S. Senate. And we need all of you all to join us in this call to action. She will be the first, if she is, when, not if, when she is confirmed, she will be the first woman, the first Black woman to serve in this position. And with all that has been going on in our nation, the Justice Department having someone of the caliber of Kristen Clarke to serve the American people would be a blessing and a treasure. Because we know that we've had a rough few years, and we need justice back in the Justice Department. And her background and her experience, her passion, and her commitment to service is what this is all about. So at this time, I'm going to turn the program over to my partner in this, Dr. Janetta Cole, to bring us additional remarks. Thank you, Dr. Cole.
It is always a joy to do anything in the interest of freedom and justice with Melanie Campbell. What a sister leader she is. Dr. Dorothy Irene Height, the iconic leader of the National Council of Negro Women, once said this: "When you are a Black woman, you seldom get to do what you just want to do. You always do what you have to do." But tonight, as the sister leaders of national Black women's organizations and networks are standing up in solidarity with our sister Kristen Clarke, we're not only doing what we have to do, we're doing what we want to do. And so I pass the mic virtually back to my sister leader, Melanie Campbell.
Melanie, you're on mute.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. And as we are gathering here in a show of unity and power to call on the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee to do what is necessary in a moment such as this, to swiftly confirm Kristen Clarke to serve as Assistant Attorney General of the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. As you all know, it is essential that the U.S. Department of Justice has a civil rights division led by someone with a proven track record committed to addressing the underlying issues of social justice, equity, and fairness that affects every aspect of our society. As our country moves forward, we must address the increasing attacks on our civil rights, voting rights, women's rights, LGBTQ rights. It's time for criminal justice and policing reform now, and other major justice issues. As a former colleague, I can say that Kristen Clarke has the lived experience, professional history, and bold vision that is required to lead this department. And at this time, I would like to move our program forward with our sister, Stephanie Brown James, who is co-founder of the Collective Education Fund. Stephanie, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Melanie, for hosting us, for leading us always. Have to also say thank you so much to the incomparable Dr. Janetta B. Cole. We appreciate your leadership, ladies, and are just thrilled that you have taken the mantle to convene all of us in support of our sister, Kristen Clarke. Again, my name is Stephanie Brown James. I am co-founder of the Collective Education Fund, a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that is focused on building Black civic engagement. And we are excited to champion a new video that we will be releasing soon that really highlights the need for Kristen Clarke. The time is now for Kristen Clarke because, as Melanie said, she is prepared, she is ready, she has lived a life of civil rights and social justice from her time starting her career at the Department of Justice's Office of Civil Rights to her work in the New York Attorney General's office. And so we are proud to stand with Kristen, and we have a short video that we're going to play, but I have to say thank you to a few partner organizations that have worked with the Collective Education Fund to make this video possible. I want to say thank you again to Melanie and the Black Women's Roundtable. Thank you to Dr. Cole and Janice Mathis from the National Council of Negro Women. I want to thank the National CARES Movement, CARES Mentoring Movement, and Susan Taylor, Win with Black Women, and Joteka Edie. I also want to thank D4 Women of Action with Rhonda Briggins and Siobhan Arline Bradley. And thank you so much to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and their social action chair, Roslyn Brock. Thank you for your support to make this video happen and the support of all the organizations on the line today and that have been working so hard for this moment to come and for us to continue to push for Kristen Clarke. And now I think we will play the video so you all can see the ads that hopefully you will be pushing out with us beginning tomorrow across your networks.
In the last few years, we have seen tragedy and triumph, wins and losses. And through both the pain and the pride, we've been reminded our rights to be who we choose, to live in a world free from hate, to worship as we please, to exercise our right to vote without fear, must always be protected and never taken for granted. And while that responsibility will always lie with us, there is one person in our federal government responsible for protecting those rights from the inside out, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights in the Justice Department. And right now, Kristen Clarke, who's dedicated her entire life and career to defending our civil rights, has been nominated as the next Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. She'd be the first woman and Black woman to ever hold that position. And it's about time. So call your senator and tell them to confirm Kristen Clarke.
And so as you see, that is a dynamic ad that we need to get in front of everyone. So beginning tomorrow, we ask that when you receive the link for the video, and if you receive the information about this call this evening, then you are pretty much going to be guaranteed to get the link to the video. Please send it far and wide. We definitely want to encourage our senators to confirm Kristen Clarke. And if you notice the voice on the ad, that was actress, writer, producer Rashida Jones, who lended her voice and time to the ad because she actually was an undergrad with Kristen Clarke at Harvard University. And so thank you again to Melanie, to Dr. Cole for leading us this evening. And we look forward to getting that ad all across this country as we work to confirm Kristen Clarke.
Thank you, Stephanie, so very much. That was an awesome ad. And we appreciate your leadership and your team for that, pulling that together and for partnering, and we're able to support what you're doing with the digital ad campaign, supporting our sister Kristen Clarke. Thank you so much. Now we will hear from one of our media partners. I want to thank Roland Martin Unfiltered as one of our media partners, Roland Martin. And we also have Essence with us, and we want to thank Essence as one of our longtime media partners for Black Women's Roundtable and many of our organizations that are on this call supporting Black women. Essence is all that for Black women, and we want to thank Sheila Harris, Senior Manager, PR and Strategic Communications with Essence Incorporated, to bring remarks as our media partner. Sheila.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mel. Good evening to everyone today. As always, it is such a pleasure to extend greetings to you tonight, to Melanie Campbell and the entire Black Women's Roundtable for your tireless work on behalf of Black women. We truly, truly thank you. Essence is so proud to serve once again as a media partner for yet again another incredible cause. All of you know, Mel and her team are truly just truly a light, staunchly advocating for the betterment of our community. Which brings me to the cause for tonight as we highlight the efforts of another warrior, if you will. Kristen Clarke, as you know, has spent her entire career fighting for civil rights. Her historic journey on the road to lead the Civil Rights Division has caught the eyes of millions. And we know that her tireless work and track record truly speaks for itself. And it's her type of determination and vision that will provide the direction needed for this role. So tonight, we're so excited that we're going to be hearing from amazing leaders who will not only share their support, but also stress the importance of this historic moment. This is an exciting time for Black women. And as you know, Essence will continue to chronicle this moment every step of the way. So once again, we're so honored to join you this evening as we continue to win with Black women. Be sure to visit us at essence.com for more coverage on everything that matters to Black women. Thank you and be well.
Thank you, Sheila, so very much. And we look forward to continue to partner with you. And thank you for always being that voice, Essence, for being the voice for Black women. Now we will hear from another one of my mentors and sisters in the movement who we love dearly, Dr. Barbara Williams Skinner, who's co-chair of the National African American Clergy Network, who will bring us inspiration and tell us what's happening from the faith community, especially the Black church, in supporting our sister Kristen Clarke. Dr. Barbara Williams Skinner.
Melanie, we all know as women in the struggle that when you are in the struggle, you have much favor from God, but you have many haters. And Rosa Parks, I remember the opportunity I had to meet her before she passed away. And I was always curious about what it was like for her to be on that bus alone, sitting in the front when everybody was screaming to her that her place was in the back. And Rosa said in the soft voice those who met her knew, she said, we used what we had. She didn't have a cell phone. She didn't have an iPad. She didn't know how to get on Instagram, but she used her backbone and courage. Dorothy Height, Shirley Chisholm, all the extraordinary women who have gone before us, used what they had. They had great favor, but they had many haters. You cannot be a warrior like Kristen Clarke. You cannot come against a system that is designed to marginalize Black and poor people and people who have been left on the side outside of we the people and expect her not to have haters. But it's like the women in the Bible, Esther and Ruth and so many others who were marginalized in their time, but they used what they had to redeem the souls of their people. I always assume that every battle I go in, every battle that's against me, that I am going to win because I have the favor of God, the favor that backs my enemies off, that tells me I'm the head and not the tail, that tells me I'm above and not the beneath, that tells me that no weapon formed against me will ever prosper, and that any tongue that rises up against me, it will tumble and fall. So we have to say to our sister, with all of the extraordinary women around us, those we've heard and many who are listening in, we have the favor of God. And we've been on the battlefield. And along with Kristen, we cannot expect not to have haters. But with the God we serve, we always win in the end. You have much favor, sisters. We're going to win with a sister in the Justice Department who was a warrior for justice, Kristen Clarke. The Black community, the clergy community is fully behind her, prepared to go to battle on her behalf. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Skinner, Dr. Barbara Williams Skinner, for those words of encouragement and inspiration, and really giving us the insight and sharing your wisdom and just the faith that you exude. Just really is something we need to just all grab a hold of, and we know we'll get her across the finish line. So thank you so much. And now for the next part of our call to action, we want to share, have some of the baddest lawyers I know in this country and indeed the world, as far as I'm concerned, who are also our colleagues in the civil rights and social justice and human rights movement in this country, who will give us an update on what's going on with Kristen Clarke's nomination process. And so we have Damon Hewitt, acting president and executive director for the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, Sister Sherilyn Eiffel, president and director counsel, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and Brother Wade Henderson, interim president and CEO of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, who will share with us what's happening with Kristen Clarke's nomination process.
Good evening. My name is Damon Hewitt. I'm the acting president and executive director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. I'm so proud to be with you this evening. I want to thank Melanie Campbell, Dr. Cole, and all of the sisters who are responsible not only for this evening's gathering and event, but all of the mobilization, all of the awareness raising, all of the activation that's been happening both before this evening and also going forward from today. So Kristen, we know Kristen Clarke as a nominee is uniquely qualified, from the U.S. Department of Justice and a prior stint as a federal prosecutor to the New York Attorney General's office to the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund and all the way to the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law. Kristen has proven herself time and time again. And I can say that with confidence because I've been in the trenches with her. I've been her co-counsel, I've been her consigliere, I've been her partner in justice on so many different matters as an ally, a colleague, and also as a friend for nearly 25 years. I can tell you that Kristen is one of the nation's finest civil rights lawyers and strategists. She puts people first, and putting people first means centering their lived experience from all the communities that get marginalized, that get left out, all the voices that aren't heard. She's not there to speak just for people. She's there to help amplify and lift up voices. She is bold. She sued the so-called Proud Boys before people had heard of them, before they stormed the Capitol in January 6th. She stood with victims of hate crimes and survivors, from people who were victims of domestic crimes to hate crimes, from the family of Emmett Till to student activists in the modern day on college campuses who've been victims of hate crimes as well. You know, they say when you're a Black woman, you have to be twice as good. Well, my friends, Kristen Clarke is as advertised. She is built for this. But Kristen's also one of us. I told you that she's my friend, and I can tell you that she not only has known excellence from the hallowed halls of Harvard University to Columbia Law School to all of the elite institutions of not just academia, but also legal practice, but she can do it all. Kristen can go from courtroom to classroom, from black tie event to backyard barbecue, all in the same day and not miss a beat. Everywhere she goes, you will get her authentic self. And that's what makes her unique. The way that she leads, the way that she is focused, and the way that she is so determined to seek justice for all. Kristen, when she goes into the Department of Justice, and we believe she will be confirmed as the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, when she goes in, she's going to not just walk in for herself or by herself, she will figuratively be walking with legions. She'll be walking with us and all of you. Kristen is the embodiment of our ancestors' wildest dreams. She's had our back all these years. So now let's have hers and mobilize and support Kristen Clarke and her nomination and her confirmation as Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. Thank you.
Thank you, Damon, for those words and just giving us a little bit of sneak peek about what's also going on and giving that background again on our sister Kristen Clarke. We don't have Wade and Sherilyn on yet, so we will continue to move on and move the program along. This call to action, and if they're able to make it, we'll make sure we pull them into this conversation. And so, as the the head of the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation and Black Women's Roundtable. Again, we strongly urge the Senate to swiftly confirm Kristen Clarke to immediately begin working to undo the years of systemic inequities and begin the process of centering civil rights and racial justice in our federal law enforcement system. So tonight, we will hear from Black women leaders, civil rights and social justice leaders who represent labor and civil rights and faith and so many others. And so at this time, I want to just call on Dr. Janetta Cole. Before I bring her on, I want to also just list out the women's organizations who are partners with us on this call to action. Black Women's Roundtable, National Council of Negro Women, Win with Black Women, Power Rising, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, The Links Incorporated, National Carers Mentoring Movement, 100 Black Women, Coalition of 100 Black Women. I wear glasses, y'all, so forgive me. Higher Heights Education Fund, Jack and Jill, Black Women's Agenda, our women's national Black women's organizations who have joined us as partners in this. And so at this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Dr. Janetta Cole, who will moderate our call to action panel 1. Dr. Cole, turn it over to you.
Dr. Cole, you're on mute.
My apology. Sister Mel, when I look at the list of these national leaders of Black women's organizations standing behind Sister Kristen Clarke, I know she's going to get confirmed. She must be confirmed. She is our Esther for such a time as this. And so now we are going to hear in brief but very important statements from leaders of national Black women's organizations. And to begin, we call on the People's Bishop, Sister Bishop Leah Daughtry, co-convener of Power Rising.
Good evening, sisters, and thank you, Dr. Cole and Sister Melanie Campbell, for your leadership and the leadership of Black Women's Roundtable and the National Council of Negro Women. I am here as co-convener of Power Rising, an intergenerational collective of Black women who comes together to leverage our political, economic, and social power to improve our communities and to press our communities forward. Our conference is this weekend, and so I could not help but step away from the last details of our conference planning to come and speak and express Power Rising support on behalf of my homegirl, my sister from Brooklyn, Kristen Clarke. You've heard her qualifications. You've heard what she's done. There is no question but that she has the right qualifications. There is no question but that she has the right experience for this time in our nation. And so we will not be delayed. We will not be deterred. We will not be denied. This sister in this position, we need her voice. We need her presence. We need her experience. We need her qualifications to stand in the gap for all of us who have seen justice too long delayed and too long denied. And so we call upon the Senate to take immediate action to swiftly confirm Sister Kristen Clarke, Attorney Kristen Clarke, to this pivotal position. And we call upon all Black women everywhere. Do your part. What can you do? Call your United States senators and tell them we expect them, that you expect them as their employer to put Kristen Clarke in office. We need her. She is the one that we need right now. now. She is the one we have been waiting for such a time as this. Confirm, Kristen Clarke.
Dr. Cole, you're on mute.
My apology again. Thank you so much to the People's Bishop. And now I call on the co-convener of Power Rising, the righteous sister, Mignon Moore.
Hi, Dr. Cole. Mignon had traveled, so apologize for that. She was not able to make it because she's on travels that made it where she couldn't be on. So we go to the next. So apologize for that.
All right, thank you. Now this really tickles my heart and touches my soul to call on Joteka Edie, the convener of #Win with Black Women.
Well, good evening, Dr. Cole and Sister Melanie Campbell. It is always an honor and a privilege to be in working with you both and all of the Black women who have gathered. I come before you as the convener of #Win with Black Women. We are intergenerational, intersectional group of Black women leaders. We are a network of Black women that represent every single sector. We are Black women in corporate America, Black women in Silicon Valley, Black women in movement, and Black women in faith. And we stand united to say very loud and clear that we call for the United States Senate to vote in a bipartisan manner to confirm Kristen Clarke. Kristen Clarke is not only the right person for the job, but also the right person for this moment. We know right now that voting rights and criminal justice reform and removing hate speech from tech platforms are critical issues before our nation. And we need a leader that not only understands the rule of law, but also has a lived experience and an expertise to lead on these issues. Kristen Clarke is that person. And for Black women, this confirmation is not only historic, but it is also imperative. We know that Black women voted in historic numbers in 2020, and much like in 2020, we are going to do everything in our power to ensure that we send one message, that we expect a bipartisan confirmation for Kristen Clarke as Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. We know that Kristen has everything that she needs to lead us, and that we will win with Black women. We will win with Kristen Clarke at the helm, and we stand in support of her. And we call on everyone out there to call your senator today and tell them to confirm Clarke and win with Black women. Thank you.
There are thousands of women who claim her as their leader. But I say she is my national president of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the president and CEO of our sorority, Beverly E. Smith.
Thank you, Dr. Cole, my SOAR. And thank you, Melanie Campbell, my SOAR, for putting this together tonight for someone who means a great deal to all of us. You know, when I think of Kristen Clarke and her life as a civil and human rights advocate, together with the U.S. Justice Department Civil Rights Division's overarching goal to end injustice, I can't help but think of Martin Luther King's words when he said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." I also believe that in today's world, it takes determination and true grit to make fighting for justice your life's work. Now, there are very few people who are willing to take that risk, but one of them is Kristen Clarke. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority stands firmly with the goal to advance the presence and confirmation of Black women to serve in leadership positions in the Department of Justice. Since our founding in 1913, Delta Sigma Theta has stood as a sorority of social action committed to the advocacy of civil and human rights for all Americans. Kristen Clarke epitomizes what our founders stood for and what our organization continues to fight for. Now more than ever, the Justice Department needs a leader in the Civil Rights Division with a proven track record and a commitment to ensuring that all Americans are treated equitably, with dignity, and have full access to their constitutional rights. In the wake of this unprecedented voter suppression effort that's underway in our country today, and with a volatile relationship between communities of color and the criminal justice system, Kristen Clarke represents a sound voice who is willing and able to answer the clarion call needed for justice in these times of uncertainty. With over 350,000 initiated women and 1,061 chapters, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority stands for Black women and stands on the right side of justice. With Kristen Clarke at the helm, she stands ready to embark on a journey to ensure liberty and justice for all, my audience, being the operative word. I hope that the United States legislative body, whose purpose is to consider and protect the rights of all, sees her as the best choice today and for the future of this country on the worldwide stage. The stage for Kristen Clarke's confirmation is yet another time for us to use the power in our collective voices. Please do all you can to support this nomination. Write, contact your senators. Make sure our voices are heard. Thank you so much.
For all who believe in freedom, how blessed we are to have our sororities in the United States and around the world. And now it is my honor to present Rashida S. Liberty, International Grand Basileus and Board Chair of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cole. It is indeed an honor to be called upon for a time such as this. I want to thank everyone that has organized this wonderful opportunity to present this very qualified candidate. On behalf of the ladies of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, we are joining in this effort that we deem already successful to support Kristen Clarke. Our sisterhood for nearly 100 years has stood side by side with those who will ensure there is equity, honor, support, power, dignity, and greater in the communities we serve, not only here in the US, but even globally. In the spirit of diversity, we know that Kristen Clarke will ensure that all voices, faces, and walks will not only be invited to the party, but that all will be invited to dance. That is the spirit of diversity. We want more than just a seat at the table. We want a voice at the table. Civil rights represents assembly rights. Civil rights represents safety rights. Civil rights represents women's rights. Civil rights represent voting rights. So civil rights also are indeed human rights. We call upon all 100,000 members of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, as well as our affiliates, our partners, and our staff to do their part to apply the right level of pressure, as well as gentle support to those who need to make this happen. At the end of the day, qualification to solidify this confirmation. With our rich legacy of addressing the safety and security of women and children, we not only stand with Kristen Clarke today, but we will be there when this confirmation is solidified. I thank you for the opportunity, and Sigma Gamma Rho is all in. with Kristen Clarke.
Many of us know of Rosalind M. Brock during the years when she served as the chair of the NAACP. Tonight, our sister, who of course will always represent the NAACP, is also going to speak with us as the chairperson of the International Connection and Social Action Committee of Alpha, Kappa Alpha, Sorority Incorporated. Sister Rosalind.
Good evening, Dr. Cole, and to my fellow freedom fighter, Melanie Campbell. I am pleased to be here on behalf of our International Supreme Bacillus and CEO, Dr. Glenda Glover of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, our country's first Greek letter woman sorority. And she's also president of Tennessee State University. Collectively, my sorors across the length and breadth of this nation and internationally, we lend our collective voices to those who've gathered here tonight with a strong and unified presence, calling upon the United States Senate Judiciary Committee to swiftly confirm our sister, Kristen Clarke, to serve as Assistant Attorney General for the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. We are all aware of the dangerous and defining times we're living in as our nation grapples with an unprecedented global health, economic, and racial pandemic. What's most assuring to us as Black women is that we have a courageous justice leader in Kristen Clarke, who leads by example with a deep and abiding sense of urgency and equity. Kristen Clarke has dedicated her life to the pursuit of justice and has fought for us. And now we are proud as Black women collective to fight for her confirmation to lead our nation's Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Rest assured, all those under the sound of my voice, that as Black women and women united, we won't back down and we won't be silent. Courage will not skip this generation of Black women. Our nation's judicial well-being is at stake. And we earnestly believe that Kristen Clarke, when and where she enters the halls of justice, will be unwavering in her commitment to excellence and equal treatment under law. Join us as we call upon those here and across our country to call their senators and ask for this confirmation swiftly of our sister friend, Kristen Clarke. We thank you for your support.
Tonight, not one, not two, not three, but all four of our sororities are fully represented. And now I call on our sister, Krista Jones, Southeast Regional Social Action Coordinator, Domestic Violence Policy Director of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Good evening, Dr. Cole and Melanie Campbell. I'm here on behalf of the International President of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Valerie Hollingsworth Baker. Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated urges the swift confirmation of Kristen Clarke now. Our lives are literally depending upon it. We say, we the people of the United States, but in reality, African Americans and other people of color have literally built this nation, and we should be included in that we, but we have been subjugated, enslaved, and suppressed with no voice. We say, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, but in reality, we have died for this nation and been beaten and killed with no voice. We say, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, but in reality, we have been bought and sold, our families have been ripped apart, and we still don't have true justice or equality today. We say, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. But in reality, when the Constitution was written, our nation was being designed to create a power structure which kept Blacks and people of color at the bottom. Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated is a historically Black women's organization of 125,000 mothers, daughters, sisters, and aunts dedicated to social justice for our families and communities. And we are fed up with the lack of progress that our nation has made since this Constitution was written. In 2021, we are no longer willing to accept the status quo of voter suppression, police brutality, and discrimination against our Kristen Clarke has been on the front lines fighting for a more just democracy throughout her career. She has worked for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, the Civil Rights Bureau of the Attorney General's Office of New York, and served as the president and executive director of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, one of the country's most important national civil rights organizations. Kristen Clarke has worked on a number of cases which exhibit her dedication to equal protection under the law, standing up for women, standing against hate crimes, and standing up for voting rights. President Biden appointed Clarke in January of 2021, and the Senate Judiciary Committee held her confirmation hearing in April. Kristen Clarke is the voice that we need, and the ladies of Zeta Phi Beta stand steadfastly by her. The U.S. Senate should confirm her as the Assistant Attorney General on Civil Rights at the Department of Justice immediately. Our lives are literally depending on it.
Thank you, my sister. And now we will hear from Dr. Kimberly Jeffries Leonard, the national president of the Links Incorporated and the Links Foundation. I take a moment of personal privilege to say that I respectfully, sisterly, lovingly call her Super Sister President.
Dr. Cole, who I call lovingly Supreme President, and thank you, Melanie Campbell. We know that Kristen Clarke is more than qualified. She has spent her entire career fighting for civil rights. She will continue this as Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. Her confirmation is really about our communities and our fight for justice in our communities. Kristen Clarke has a long history of fighting for women, communities of colors, and marginalized people. She is the type of leader we need heading the Department of Justice. She will bring a racial equity lens to civil rights at a time when it is needed most. The Links Incorporated support her confirmation because we support civil rights, which are so critical to our communities. Almost 75 years old, the Links Incorporated is no stranger to the fight for civil rights. So we need to let all of our senators know how important her confirmation is to us and to our communities. In a time such as this, her historic nomination would make her the first woman ever confirmed to lead the Civil Rights Division and the first Black woman to hold the post in any capacity since the division was created in 1957. She has done groundbreaking and courageous work encompassing virtually every area of civil rights enforcement and litigation. Her credentials make her the right person to lead the Civil Rights Division at this time right now. So please, please, please participate in the Social Media Day of Action tomorrow, May 12th. I am Kimberly Jeffries Leonard, National President of the Links Incorporated, asking all of our 16,000 members to put our community first and support the confirmation of Kristen Clarke. I am asking all who hear my voice tonight to support this confirmation. Our voice is our power. Let's use it because our lives continue to depend on it. Thank you.
It's a joy for me to call on Cornelia McGill Brown, President and CEO of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. She is also my Spelman sister.
Thank you, Dr. Cole, my Spelman sister, and to Sister Melanie Campbell and all sister leaders and supporters here tonight. I am Cornisha McGill Brown, National President of Jack and Jill of America Incorporated. Jack and Jill of America is a family organization founded in 1938 with the mission of developing future African American leaders. And on behalf of Jack and Jill's 12,000 mother members and 40,000 family members and children represented across the nation, it is indeed my honor to join these dynamic sister leaders in support of our sister, Kristen Clarke. Tonight, we join together to leverage our collective voices to advocate for the U.S. Senate to swiftly confirm Ms. Clarke to be the first woman and Black woman to lead the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. We are at a very critical time in our society, and the work of the Civil Rights Division is of extreme importance for our children, our families, and our communities. Leadership matters, and representation matters. And Ms. Clarke is exactly who we need in this top leadership position. She has a long history of fighting for women, communities of color, and marginalized people, and is extremely qualified to do the job. Ms. Clarke is a voting rights champion, an advocate for crime victims, and will bring racial equity lens to civil rights. To everyone watching tonight and to the members of Jack and Jill, please participate in the Social Media Day of Action on tomorrow, May 12th. We have the power to make a difference through this historic nominee, Ms. Kristen Clarke, a civil rights leader of our time. So join us in contacting our U.S. senators and lending our voices for the swift confirmation of Ms. Kristen Clarke. Our lives depend on it. Jack and Jill supports Ms. Kristen Clarke. Thank you.
You're on mute, Dr. Cole.
Any convening of the organizations that are of Black women must have representation from the National Coalition of 100 Black Women Incorporated. And so, President Virginia W. Harris is with us to speak now. Is she with us? Sister Mel?
She is not with us just yet, so we can move on and come back.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I can say the same for our sister, Genevieve Catchings Hess, and that is a convening of the leaders of national Black women's organizations must include her. She is the sister president of Black Women's Agenda.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Cole. And thank you so much, Sister Melanie. It's so wonderful to be with you and among all of you tonight. We've all heard about how qualified Kristen Clarke is. But when I think about her on a practical sense, I think about when groups like the Proud Boys decide that they just don't want to stand by and stand down and decide to act up. I want Kristen Clarke to be there with Lady Justice standing there blinded, but with a spine to make sure that we are represented and that justice is done and completed. We need her to make sure that racial inequality is being upheld. We need that balance that she will bring to the court that we currently have not had. I am delighted to say that the Black Women's Agenda is so excited, so thrilled, first of all, for her nomination, and then for her confirmation when that happens. We are urging with all of our sister organizations that everyone urge your senators, urge senators who are not your senators, to confirm Kristen Clarke. We need her now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Gwen. To round out this first panel, we have asked the Sister President and CEO of Higher Heights Leadership Fund to speak. And so the virtual mic is yours, Sister Glenda Carr.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. We are proud to stand with Black women leaders across this country and to call for the confirmation of Kristen Clarke. So she appeared in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee on April 14th. So it's time to call the vote, the roll call, to confirm Kristen Clarke to be the first woman and Black woman to formally lead the Justice Department Civil Rights Division since its creation in 1957. So in her own words, in April 14th, during that committee meeting, she told her story. She is a daughter of immigrants, a mother, an attorney, a fighter for justice. And she told the story of what led her to this work, using the words of her mentor and the person that inspired her to step into this role, Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall. She said these words guided her work. Where you see wrong or inequality or injustice, you speak out. Because this is our country. This is our democracy. Make it, protect it, pass it on. And that's what she's done. That's what you've heard from the women on this evening call to action. We cannot let misinformation and disinformation about Kristen Clarke put her in a situation where we are fighting to ensure that she's confirmed for this historic role. So we are stronger together. And so tomorrow we are going to gather on social media and hashtag demand that our representatives confirmed a qualified Black woman with a lived experience that will bring her unique qualifications to this role to lead the division in a time that we can push innovation in our justice system. So I hope you will join Higher Heights members across this country to call on our senators to confirm Kristen Clarke.
Thank you so much, Sister Presidents all. And now back to you, Sister Lita Mel.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Dr. Cole, and thank you to all our sister leaders. The power of your individual organizations is awesome, but the power collectively coming together for such a time as this is takes us to the stratosphere. And so, thank you so very much for joining us and partnering with us on this call to action to confirm our sister Kristen Clarke. I want to now have our sister Sherilyn Eiffel, who will come on. Sherilyn Eiffel is the president and director counsel of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, to give us some background on what's happening with Kristen Clarke's nomination process. But I want you all to write something down. Those of you all who are following us, I want to give you a number. We're talking about this call to action day, social action day tomorrow. And so we're going to ask you, call your U.S. senator, and as someone else said, call the senator that's not your senator, and tell them we want Kristen Clarke confirmed, and we want her to confirm now. The number that you can call your U.S. senator or any U.S. senator you'd like to call is 202-224-3121. 202-224-3121. And take these hashtags down. Confirm Clarke. And her name, and some people spell it with a K. Hers is spelled CLARKE. Clarke. Confirm Clarke hashtag, and also hashtag Win with Black Women. We have a Twitter storm that happens between 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time tomorrow between 3 and 4. But all day, we want you to take whenever you got a minute to stop and do and push this out. Please do so tomorrow all day. We will be having IG Lives that we will be sharing with you all throughout the day. Our sister Donna Brazil is one of those who's going to lead an IG Live with us tomorrow. So we just need everyone to step in and lean in and make sure that our voices, our collective voices, are heard, so that our sister can be confirmed. So this time I'll turn over to our sister Sherilyn Eiffel. And Sherilyn, thank you so very much for joining us tonight and for your leadership.
Good evening. Good evening. How are you? Listen, thank you, Melanie, and thank you, Dr. Cole, and thank you all for joining tonight. I'm going to be brief because you have heard all of the Black women leaders tell us what we must do. I am Sherilyn Eiffel. I'm the president and director counsel of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And Kristen Clarke, of course, was an attorney at the Legal Defense Fund from 2006 to 2011, where she co-led our political participation group working on voting rights cases. And I want to talk to you because I want to talk about what is required and needed at this moment. To lead the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, you need an attorney who has the background, who has the experience, who has the commitment, the skill, the passion, the courageousness, the fearlessness to be able to take on the enormous task of civil rights enforcement. And I cannot think of a time in our recent history when we have more needed someone who is fiercely committed to civil rights, who is fiercely courageous, and who is powerfully prepared. Now, if I may say so, the Legal Defense Fund has done a pretty good job of preparing people to lead the Civil Rights Division. Former Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Drew Days, was a former LDF attorney. Former Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Deval Patrick, was a former LDF attorney. Acting Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Bill Lon Lee, was a former NAACP Legal Defense Fund attorney. Vanita Gupta, former Acting Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, was also an LDF attorney. We prepare people for this position. And there's none who's more prepared, more equipped than Kristen Clarke. She formerly worked in the Department of Justice for a number of years. She worked at LDF. She led the Civil Rights Bureau of the New York Attorney General's office. And more recently, she has led the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law, one of the nation's most important civil rights legal organizations. At this moment in our country, when we have to confront the level of racial discrimination that we are seeing in every aspect of life, when we are addressing what has been the disastrous dismantling of civil rights enforcement in the Department of Justice during the Trump years, when we are facing an exponential rise in hate crimes and open, violent white supremacy, when we are watching the attack on affirmative action, on standards like disparate impact, when voter suppression has run free and untrammeled, and states are churning out every week laws that engage in so much voter suppression, racial voter suppression, so shameful that they even would bar individuals from providing water to those waiting online to vote. We need someone fully prepared and equipped to lead the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department, and that person is Kristen Clarke. If you hear opposition to her, the opposition to her is not because of Kristen. The opposition is because they know that she is fully prepared to take that department, lead that team, and reinvigorate civil rights enforcement in the Department of Justice. Her record, they know, it is not that her record shows she's unprepared. It is that her record shows how powerfully prepared she is that stirs the opposition. I want to say something about Kristen as a Black woman. This should be something that resonates powerfully for each and every one of us. This is a woman who was raised in public housing, who made her way through the finest educational institutions, who decided that she wanted to devote her talents to public service, to racial equality and justice. She could have engaged in any lucrative career as a lawyer she wanted to, but she chose this life of service. She's done everything right to prepare her for this job. She is fully qualified. And it is important for women and girls to see that someone who does what a Kristen Clarke does, who works hard, who struggles, who works out of passion and commitment, and who performs at the highest level as she has, it's critical for women and girls to see that such a person will not be barred from service in the United States government, in the Department of Justice, because of those who come against her precisely because of her preparation. And so we as Black women have to stand united in being clear and unequivocal about support for Kristen. We need to let our senators know what we expect of them, that we expect them to stand for this nomination, that we expect to see civil rights enforcement reinvigorated in this important period, that we expect a swift vote for Kristen Clarke, and that we expect her to be confirmed. If you share this view with me, I need you to call your senators, not one senator. I need you to call both of your senators. I don't care whether you live in a red state or a blue state. They need to hear from you so that they understand the passion that is out there for this confirmation. That means you have to call 202-224-3121, 202-224-3121. You also can reach out to your senator by email. You can tweet at your senator, but you need to contact them and let them know what you expect. Think about where we are. It is already May, and we don't have a head of the Civil Rights Division. We need to get on with the work of justice. Tell your senators they need to confirm Kristen Clarke and confirm her swiftly. This attorney, this Black woman, this civil rights advocate, this lifelong civil rights advocate is ready to take on the task at hand, and we have to stand in support of her. On behalf of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, I am in full support of Kristen Clarke's confirmation. I'm proud to stand with all of the women on this call tonight as we express our unequivocal and clear support for this confirmation. Thank you.
Mel, you're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Sherilyn, for your leadership and your tireless leadership, and all that you and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund does every day, fighting for our civil rights all over this country. Next, we will have inspiration from our sister leader, Susan L. Taylor, founder and CEO of the National Cares Mentoring Movement and editor-in-chief emeritus of Essence Magazine. Susan, the floor is yours. Thank you so very much for always inspiring us. And we are just so delighted to have you join us tonight.
Well, what a night this is. Oh, thank you so much, my beloved friends, Melanie Campbell and Dr. Cole. I'm so inspired and moved, but it shouldn't be so hard to do the right thing. We shouldn't have to work so hard to lift up and ensure that the woman who belongs in that seat, in the seat of the civil rights leadership, that position in the Department of Justice, we shouldn't have to work so hard to make this happen. But here we are, Black women always gathering around the things, the issues that are important to our community. And you know, Melanie said to me, have you reached out to Tina Coles? And I said, oh my goodness, I forgot Tina Knowles, and I did. And I called her today. And I just have to tell you, I shared with her the importance of this moment. I didn't have to speak more than just a few seconds. One word, she said, absolutely. And I want to say within 5 minutes, she created a video. She said, I'm going to put on some lipstick and I'm going to send this video to you because Kristen Clarke is everything we need at this moment. She's phenomenal. I've been finding it following it rather, and I'm so glad that women are organized around it. So you should know that she's married to Richard Lawson, the actor, my good friend for decades, used to host the Essence television show with me. And when you're in Los Angeles, go to the Waco Theater. It's their theater. I mean, delivering beautiful Black theater. So with no further ado, except to say, when you listen to the lyrics that flow from Beyonce, that flow from her wonderful, wonderful sister who we love so much, Solange, know that they were raised, they were nurtured, and directed by Tina Knowles Lawson.
Hi, I'm Tina Knowles Lawson, and I'm here today in support of Kristen Clarke, who is running for Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. It is imperative that someone fills that position who has everyone's best interest at heart, all communities, all ethnicities, and represents everyone and diversity. Kristen is smart, brilliant, I might say, totally qualified for the job, and brings a fresh lens to the DOJ that is badly needed. She has spent her career fighting for civil rights and justice and will continue to do so in this position. So please today support 100% Kristen Clarke for Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. Thanks.
Tina Clarke, thank you. Always shows up the right time and for the right purpose. It's so important to make those phone calls. You know, our lives are overwhelmed with all the competing pressures and responsibilities, but calling and overwhelming those senators' offices is our work tomorrow and every day until that confirmation is guaranteed, until it's done. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you, Sister Tina Knowles Lawson, for lending your voice and your platform for this call to action. And remember, tomorrow is our social media day of action. Call your U.S. senator. Weigh in on social media at hashtag confirm Clarke and hashtag win with Black women. And so now we will move to our final panel of the evening, call to action panel. The Black women leaders from national civil rights, social justice, labor, and other organizations who will bring their call to action remarks. And so it's my pleasure and honor to bring on our sister Karen Boykin-Towns, Vice Chair of the Board of the NAACP. Karen.
Good evening, Sister Mel and Dr. Cole and all of my sister leaders. I am honored to be here this evening and thank everyone for joining into this most important call. And the NAACP is honored to find another issue to work with all of us on. As they say in the church, all that needs to be said has been said, but just a few points I'd like to make. Certainly, we know that we can't just wish away unconstitutional policing and the other ills that lead to inequality in our society. We must do the work. And so that is why we are on this call this evening, this call to action, because we know we must push to have Kristen Clarke confirmed to lead the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice. We need experienced leaders like Kristen Clarke, and she will hit the ground running. Our nation is still reeling from a lack of civil rights enforcement for the last 4 years. And today we face multiple challenges on a host of fronts which threaten and impede our progress to achieving social justice for all. We need Kristen Clarke at the helm of the Civil Rights Division to guide this nation forward. And we know that on Thursday, the Senate Judiciary Committee will finally vote on her nomination. But we urge the Senate, demand the Senate take up her nomination quickly and vote to confirm her by an overwhelming margin. Now, we know that tomorrow is our social action day, our social media day of action, and we have the phone number to call our senators, 202-224-3121, and everyone is urged to do it. But let me just say that if you are in the states of Alaska, Utah, Ohio, or West Virginia, we really, really need you to push, because we want her to be confirmed with bipartisan support, because she is the woman to lead our division, and we believe that she is the one. So thank you so very much. We look forward to tomorrow's social media day of action, and the NAACP is honored, privileged, and looking forward to celebrating her confirmation with all of you.
Thank you so much, Karen, and thank you and the NAACP for all you do fighting for justice, social justice, civil rights every single day. Next, we will have our sister Cleola Brown, who's the national president of the A. Philip Randolph Institute, as well as the civil rights, women's rights, and human rights director for the AFL-CIO. And it's an honor and privilege to bring on our sister Cleola Brown from the House of Labor. Cleola.
Good evening, Sora Melanie Campbell, and thank you for having me tonight, and Sora Cole. It is such a pleasure and such an honor to be among such distinguished women to talk about the distinguished woman of the hour, our sister Kristen Clarke, and the confirmation for her to be the Assistant Attorney General for the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Now, on January 26th this year, there was an ABC News article, and it was titled, DOJ nominee Kristen Clarke wants to make the promise of justice for all a reality. That's enough to get me right there. As the article points out, just a day after the attack on the U.S. Capitol led the formal announcement of her nomination to that position, Kristen Clarke made it clear where she stands on hate and discrimination. She is quoted as saying, "We are at a crossroads. If I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, we will turn the page on hate and close the door on discrimination by enforcing our federal civil rights laws." Truly, the enforcement of our federal civil rights laws is what has been needed for centuries in this particular country of ours, the home of the brave and the free and all of that stuff. It is what the civil rights movement is about. It is what disenfranchised men and women have fought for decades. In '64, during a speech to about 2,500 students and faculty and visitors at Oberlin College, Dr. King said, "The time is always right to do what is right." He was obviously concerned about the upcoming November '64 election. In what was a bloody year in American history, with riots in at least 6 American cities and the murder of 3 civil rights workers in Mississippi, King's words were painfully significant. He said, "It is true that behavior cannot be legislated, and legislation cannot make you love me, but legislation can restrain you from lynching me." And I think that is kind of important. Well, the A. Philip Randolph Institute, which I have the pleasure of acting as its national civil rights leader at this moment as the president of the organization, believes that too. Even though we are a nonpartisan organization, we are particular. And we recognize that the time is always right to do what is right. We have the opportunity now, as we push forward, to call for the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee to confirm Kristen Clarke as the next Attorney General for the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. You've heard from many of the previous speakers about the call tomorrow, about the confirmation. You've gotten the hashtags, you've got the call-in numbers. So the only thing that's left to do say, we'll see you there. We urge you to pick up that phone and call a number that makes a difference. Reach out to the senator that represents you. And if they don't, call them twice. Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Mel. Thanks, Dr. Cole.
Thank you so much, Sarah Cleola Rao, and our sister leader, Cleola. Thank you so very much. Next, we will hear from Sister Linda R. Williams, President of NOBLE, and that is the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, who support the nomination of our sister, Kristen Clarke. Sister Linda?
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. To my sister Melanie Campbell, Dr. Cole, I bring you greetings on behalf of the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives, NOBLE. I am Linda Williams, National President. It gives me great pride to acknowledge the work and unwavering commitment to excellence by Sister Kristen Clarke. She is a partner of NOBLE, and she was the recipient of our 2016 Civil Rights Justice by Action. You know, we are in some tumultuous times. Sister Kristen Clarke has shown us that she's approved and ready for the job. Her excellence, her dedication, her unwavering commitment to support and defend the U.S. Constitution to ensure equal protection, not just for some, but for all citizens of this country. NOBLE stands poised to support her as we have and to endorse as we continue to ensure the equity of justice in the administration to all communities by the provision of services to each and every community that we protect and we serve. And so we stand proudly with all of you, our sisters, our other organizations, to endorse this wonderful lady. We say in NOBLE, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. And when it comes to Kristen Clarke, she is ready. And we formally endorse and we support her as the next head of the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Sister Linda Williams, for your leadership and that of NOBLE, and for joining us and partnering with us on this call to action tonight. Next, we will hear from a Sister Joy Cheney, who's the Executive Director and Senior Vice President, Policy and Advocacy for the National Urban League, one of our dear civil rights and social justice partners. Thank you so much, Joy, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Melanie. My name is Joy Cheney, and I'm the Executive Director of the Washington Bureau at the National Urban League and the Senior Vice President for Policy and Advocacy. I bring you greetings on behalf of our President and CEO, Mark Morial, and our 90 affiliates serving 300 communities in 37 states and the District of Columbia. The National Urban League is the historic civil rights organization whose mission is to help African Americans and others in underserved communities achieve their highest true social parity, economic reliance, power, and civil rights. Why am I telling you this? Because tonight, all of us stand here virtually, shoulder to shoulder with all of you, my beautiful Black sisters and brothers, because Kristen Clarke shares those same values, and we are so very proud to support her for Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. At a time when our civil rights and voting rights are being attacked, Kristen is exactly the person we need to lead our nation's Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice. Already in her roles at LDF and Lawyers Committee, Kristen has a strong record of prosecuting those who have committed crimes of hatred and bigotry, the trafficking of persons, and police misconduct. If confirmed, she would be the most qualified person to ever hold the job, and that is saying nothing about the wonderful people who've held it before. The first Black woman to officially hold it, the first woman, we would be so proud to have her in that role. More than qualified to meet the challenges of today, and those include the nationwide anti-democratic attacks on voting rights. While at the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, she represented Black voters of Shelby County in the historic Shelby County Holder case, arguing that the voter discrimination and intimidation that necessitated the Voting Rights Act still occurs today, and we know it does. We know that With our support, Kristen will be confirmed, but we also know that it will only happen through our support. Those who would dare to oppose this overly qualified candidate for the role, they know how good a job she would do. They know she is prepared for a time such as this. They know how effective she would be. And so we can't leave anything to chance. We have to let them know that we are watching and that we expect them to support the most qualified person for the job. That should be the American way. And Kristen is the best of what America has to offer. If you join me, if you support what we're doing at the National Urban League and what all of us have been saying on this call, I want you to contact your senators and tell them to confirm Kristen Clarke now. You can do that through a National Urban League phone to text action. You can text confirm now. All is one word, confirm now to 52886. Text confirm now to 52886 to be taken to the National Urban League portal, be able to contact your senators. You can also contact them by calling their offices directly. We just wanted to make it easy for you. We are so excited about the prospects of Kristen in this role. We know she is just who our nation needs. We are so glad to stand with you all tonight in support of her. Thank you and have a great evening. Back to you, Mel.
Thank you so much, Joy. Again, that switchboard tomorrow for our call to action social media day. Call your U.S. Senator, call any U.S. Senator, even if you don't know them. Again, that number is 202-224-3121. Our hashtags tomorrow are Confirm Clarke and Win with Black Women. Confirm Clarke and Win with Black Women. And now it's my pleasure and honor to bring on our sister Ebony Riley, who's the DC Bureau Chief of the National Action Network. Turn it over to you, Sister Ebony.
Thank you, Melanie, and all sister leaders here tonight. On the behalf of Reverend Al Sharpton, National Action Network's Board of Directors, our members, and our over 116 chapters nationwide, we fully support Kristen Clarke to lead the Civil Rights Division at the Department of Justice. We know that she is ready day one to uphold the civil and constitutional rights of all Americans. National Action Network is one of the leading civil rights organizations in the nation, founded in 1991 by Reverend Al Sharpton. NAN works within the spirit and tradition of Dr. King to promote a modern civil rights agenda that includes the fight for one standard of justice for all people, exactly what Kristen Clarke stands for. And too many Americans to continue to face racism and discrimination that results in disparities across a wide range of issues. And we know that Ms. Clarke has spent her career building bridges with communities across the country. Her work, as many have mentioned tonight, have touched virtually every area of civil rights. And Nan and I have personally worked with Ms. Clarke on multiple issues, including criminal justice reform, voting rights, and hate crimes. And we've seen her work in action, and it's phenomenal. We echo the call to action here tonight, standing with all of our sister leaders, and urge every senator to vote yes and swiftly confirm Ms. Kristen Clarke. It is time to bring civil rights back to the center focus of the Department of Justice. And as Melanie mentioned, please urge all U.S. senators, but specifically, you can start with your U.S. senators by calling the Capitol switchboard at 202-224-3121, 202-224-3121. And lastly, please join all of us tomorrow on social media for our social media day of action to confirm Clarke. The time is now. Thank you, Melanie.
And thank you, Ebony. Thank you so very much for your leadership. And of course, your president and founder, Reverend Al Sharpton. Thank you for National Action Network for all you do fighting for justice for our people. And last and certainly not least, for the closing out of our call to action panel 2 is Dr. Claire Nelson, our sister president and CEO of the Institute of Caribbean Studies. Claire, it is so good to have you join us tonight. The floor is yours.
Greetings and salutations, friends and family. Good evening, sisters of the Black Women's Roundtable. Special shout out and enough respect to our leader, Melanie Campbell. I don't know how we do it, but every time she is at the forefront of our struggles. I'm Dr. Claire Nelson, as you heard, president of the Institute of Caribbean Studies. ICS is a convener of an ecosystem of Caribbean diaspora leaders and organizations that advocate around issues of health, education, people with disabilities, new immigrant rights, and racial equity. We are excited about Kristen Clarke's nomination and what it would mean for millions of Caribbean Americans, as well as the significance for people from the African diaspora, immigrants who will be impacted here, as well as in those countries whose laws and lives are impacted by what the U.S. Department of Justice does. Kristen, they related to the Maroons of Jamaica, embodies that resilience, the focus, the warrior spirit, and the compassion for all people. And we know that she can accomplish much. They say it takes a village. Well, in Christian's case, it took a Caribbean village in Brooklyn to nurture her rise to leadership. And for the people of Caribbean American heritage watching tonight, for those immigrants, Black immigrants from around this world, Kristen for us is a hope that the issues that plague us here in the United States and across the world, such as human trafficking, can be addressed through the actions taken by the Department of Justice. Christians has already had several significant wins, which have already changed the course of many lives. And we know she will impact more lives if and when she is confirmed as Assistant Attorney General for the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. And so we get up and we stand up in support of her confirmation. Friends and family, tomorrow is a call to action. We want you to run as if you're running to a party and call your senator. Call even the senators that you do not know. And the number is 202-224-3121. Call. And when you post hashtag confirm Clarke. Let us get up and stand up for our civil rights by standing in support of Kristen Clarke. Melanie, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Claire, Dr. Claire Nelson, for your leadership and for lending your voice to this call to action. So it is my pleasure to bring on my partner in this, Dr. Janetta B. Cole, to bring us closing remarks. Dr. Cole, it's been an honor and pleasure to be working with you even closer on this issue, and all of our co-host organizations and speakers who are here tonight, and for all who are watching this evening. So Dr. Cole, I turn it over to you to give us closing remarks.
Sister Mel, I'm thinking of the words of a great, a mighty civil rights worker. Her name always will be Ella Baker. Ella Baker once said, "We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it's done." Well, my sisters, we who believe in freedom and justice cannot rest until Kristen Clarke is confirmed as the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights in the United States Department of Justice. Let's get this work done. Let's make those calls. If you think that one person cannot make a difference by making such a call, then you know what? As the African proverb says, you have not spent the night in a closed room with a mosquito. One person can make a difference. All of us as Black women focused on making sure our sister Kristen Clarke is confirmed is like saying it will be. We who believe in freedom and justice cannot rest until our sister is confirmed. It must be.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the people behind the scenes, staff and team from all of our organizations to make this happen tonight. Good night and join us tomorrow. Day of Action. Confirm Clarke.